Welcome to Look Learn Lead. Kindly subscribe and press the bell button for updates. Hello everyone, in this video we'll be discussing some frequently asked questions in C interview and there will be detailed explanation for all the questions. Before proceeding to the questions, please subscribe to our channel. Okay, let's move on to the questions. Okay, the first question is, what is a far pointer? What is a far pointer? Okay, the far pointer is a pointer which can access all 16 segments of the RAM. That is whole residence memory. Okay, that is a pointer which can access all the segments of the RAM is known as a far pointer. You have to remember this in C. Okay, we can next move on to the next question. What functions are used for dynamic memory allocation in C language? Okay, let's see the functions. That is malloc, calloc, realloc and freeloc. Okay, these two functions are used for allocation. Okay, and realloc is used for reallocation. That is used for changing the memory size, changing the size of memory. Okay, freeloc is used to release the memory, release the memory occupied by the malloc and calloc. Okay, now let's see what is malloc. Malloc is used for allocation of single block. Okay, calloc is used for multiple blocks. Malloc is used for single block, calloc is used for multiple blocks. You have to remember this. Okay, it is not initialized. Malloc is not initialized, so it has garbage value. Initially it has garbage value. Okay, calloc, their initialization is done. That is, all bytes are initialized to 0. In calloc, all bytes are initialized to 0. In calloc, in malloc there is no initialization, so it would be taking garbage value. Okay, now both it would return null. Both malloc as well as calloc would return null. Both would return null. When they both would return null? When the memory is not sufficient. Return null when memory is not sufficient. You have to remember these things between, there can be a difference. Difference can be asked between these two things. Okay. Now what is realloc? I said it is used for changing the memory size. Okay. When the memory allocated by malloc and calloc is not sufficient, we can use realloc. Okay, now what is free? Memory occupied by malloc and calloc, that is the memory which is allocated by malloc and calloc must be released. After usage the memory must be released, otherwise it will consume memory until the program exit. So free is used for releasing the memory which is allocated by malloc and calloc. Okay, is it clear? Let's move on to the next question. What is a structure? Okay, structure is a user defined data type. User defined data type. Okay, user defined data type. Okay, before moving on to the structure, you should know what is array. Array is also user defined data type. Okay, it is also user defined data type, but it stores data of same type. Stores same type data. Same type. That is, if the array is of integer, it would store only integer. If it is of character, it would store only character. If it is of float, it would store only floating point values. Whereas structure can store multiple data types. That is multiple data type. That is a same structure. We can have integer type, we can have float type, we can have character type. So let's see. A structure is a user defined data type that allows multiple types of data in a single unit. The single unit is called a structure. Okay. Now what is the memory of the structure? What is the memory of the structure? See, what is it? It is sum of memory of all members. Let's see with an example. We have an example of a structure. The structure name is employee. It has 3 types, that is integer, character and salary. Okay. If we are talking about 16-bit compiler, so then integer would be of 2 bytes. 2 bytes. Okay. Character would be of 1 byte and float would be of 4 byte. Float would be of 4 byte. Okay, I have missed 4. 4 would be a 4 byte. So it is what? What would be the size of the structure? Structure would be sum of all these. That is 2 plus 1 plus 4, which would be equal to 7 byte is the size of the structure. Okay, you understood what it is? If we had an array, instead of x, we had an array of x10. So what would be the answer? It would be 2 for integer plus 10 into 1 for character plus 4. It would be our answer. That is 16 byte would be our answer. Okay, you understood? There can be a questions regarding this also. Okay, let's move on to the next question. That is union. Okay, like structure and array, union is also a user defined data type. User defined data type. Okay, second, it can, like structure, it can store multiple data types. Multiple data types. But there is a difference. What is the difference? Let's see. Like structure, union is a user defined data type that allows to store multiple data types in a single unit. Okay, but what is that but? It does not occupy the sum of memories of all the members. So what would be the memory? What would be the memory size of union? It would be the memory of largest member. That is, let's see with the example. That is, it is a union employee. We have 3 types: integer, character and float. For integer it would be 2 bytes. For characters would be 1 byte. For float it would be 4 bytes. Okay. What is the maximum of 2, 1 and 4? It is 4. So 4 bytes would be the size of union. Okay. For structure, what we do? We sum up all these. But in the case of union, we would take the maximum of all. Okay, this is union. Next, move to the next question. What is the difference between getch and che? Both of these functions are used to retain the output screen. Okay, let's see the difference. In getch, both getch and che, they read a single character from the keyboard. Both. Okay, but getch does not use any buffer, so the entered data is not displayed. Okay, but in case of che, it uses buffer. So the entered data would be displayed. So let's see what is it. The getch instructions lead a single character from the keyword. It is same as getch, but what is that but? Data is displayed on the output screen because it uses buffer. Okay. Press Alt 5 to see the entered character. You can see the entered character by pressing Alt 5. Let's move on to the next question. You have to remember this. What is getch and what is getche? Okay. Next question. Can I use int data type to store the value of value 32768? Here we are talking about 16-bit. Here we are talking about 16-bit. Okay, for 16-bit, integer would be of 2 bytes. Okay, 2 bytes means 16 bits. So number of locations can be 2 to the power 16. Okay, which is equal to 65536. So address can range from 0 to 65535. Okay, from 0 you are counting, so it would be 65535. Okay, and this is if it is unsigned int. But here we are talking about int. We are not talking about unsigned int. We are talking about int. So for integer, the range would also go to negative also. So it would range from minus. You dividing this 65535 to half, 36 to half. So it would be minus 32768 to plus 32767. That is, here in the case of this 8, we have a 0 also. So 0 is included over here. So it is still 7 only. So the answer would be no. Okay. If it was unsigned int, the answer would have been yes. But here it is integer. So answer would be no. Let's move to the next question. How do you generate random numbers in C? It is very easy. We have a function, rand function. By using this function, you can generate any random number greater than 0. Okay. This is what it is. You have to remember this. Now, what is typecasting? Typecasting is generally changing one type to another. Suppose you have a float x, so which is equal to 4.2. So if you typecast this, you can typecast it. If you want to store this x into some integer. So typecasting has to be done. So how it is done? It is int y, int y. In y you want to store x. So but x is a float, so you have to typecast it. This is how it is done. This is how it is done. Let's see example. Converting one data type to another. Here we are converting float to int. Okay, it's called typecasting. Example, we have float 8.4. Okay, we are f is float, but we want to store this f into a. So we need to typecast it into integer. So this is how typecasting is to done. The value of a would be 8. Not 8.4 because it has been typecasted to an integer. So the floating point values would be truncated. This value is truncated. Okay. Let's move to the next question. What is an infinite loop? Infinite loop is a loop which runs indefinite times. So we don't have any condition over here. So let's see example. A loop running continuously for indefinite number of times is known as an infinite loop. Let's see example for for loop. See, this loop would be running infinite times because we don't have a terminator, we don't have a condition, we don't have a control variable for this loop. So it would be executed infinite number of times. Okay. Let's see example of while loop. See the condition while 1. This would always be true. So it would run indefinite number of time, infinite number of time. Okay. But if there is some code like break, there is a break statement, then only it can come out of the loop. If it is not there, it would run always. Okay. Let's move. What is the syntax for comments in C? Okay, let's see. Anything which is written between this and this is a comment. This is the syntax for comment in C. It can be a single line comment, single line, or multiple lines. Okay, single line comment can be written as like this and comment. For multiple lines, it would be like this and this. Anything written in between this is a comment. Okay, it would be ignored by the compiler during compilation. Let's see the next question. What is hash operator in C? It is a preprocessor macro. What does this macro do? It is very important. You should note this. Hash is a preprocessor macro. Okay, what does this macro do? Macro is any inbuilt function which we just call. Okay, what does this macro do? It is used to concatenate two tokens. It is used for concatenating tokens into one token. Okay, you have to remember this. Next, how to check whether the macro is defined in C or not. Okay, if a macro is defined or not, if you want to check, there is a function known as ifdef. It is not a function, it is a preprocessor directive. There is a preprocessor directive known as hash ifdef, and it can be used to check whether the macro is present or not. Okay, you have to remember this also. Questions regarding macro is frequently asked. What is the difference between a null pointer and a uninitialized pointer? Okay, null pointer is a pointer which is initialized. See, suppose I have int, there is a pointer star p, and which is equal to null. Okay, so it is initialized. I have initialized this pointer and it is pointing to nowhere. Null pointer is pointing to nowhere, but uninitialized pointer is pointing to some random location. Any location, any random location, it is pointing to some random location. Okay, and this may lead to the program to behave wrongly. The program can behave wrongly or it can crash. Program can behave because it is pointing to some random location. Any code can be there, any data can be there. So it can lead to crash, or it can make the program to behave wrongly. Whereas the null pointer, it is not pointing to anyone, it is pointing to nowhere. Okay, so this is the difference between the null pointer and uninitialized pointer. Null pointer is pointing nowhere, uninitialized pointer is pointing to random location. That is, there's some location is there to which it is pointing. Okay, let's move to the next question. What is a memory leak in C? Let's see. Memory leak occurs when the allocated memory is not released back to the operating system. Suppose we used calloc and malloc. We used calloc and malloc to allocate memory. Okay, but we have not released. So in that case, memory leak would be there. So what is the cause of, what is the symptoms, what is the result of memory leak? It increases, memory leak increases, it is increased unwanted memory uses. Increased unwanted memory uses. Okay, so if unwanted memory uses increased, so then there would be less memory would be present. Okay, so it would increase memory, unwanted memory uses, and it would decrease the performance, as there would be less space would be there. ENC, it is decrease the performance. Okay, let's move to the next question. What is the size of the pointer, size of integer pointer and character pointer? So we have an integer pointer and a character pointer. Okay, let's take an integer pointer. Okay, it would store some integer. Okay, and a character pointer, it would store some character. Okay, now what is a pointer? Pointer, it stores address. Okay, and what is the address? Address is int. Okay, so any pointer, then any pointer, whether it is character type or it is of integer type, or it is of float type, any character, any pointer of any type would be an integer only, because it stores address. Address is a number. Address is a number. Address is a integer. So any pointer would be storing an integer only. Okay, so the size of any pointer, that is whether it is integer or character, would be 2 bytes for 16 bits and 4 bytes for 32 bits. So irrespective of type, the pointer size would be same, because pointer stores an address, and address is an integer only. Address is a number only. Okay, thank you, and kindly subscribe.